Hi, and welcome to another episode of Probeline. We would very much like to thank the folks at the thrift shop for sponsoring this and creating an opportunity for you to get to know your elected officials and candidates for public office a little bit better. My name's Reid Haughey, and I'm the host of the program, and today we're with Patti Clapper, who wants to be reelected as Pitkin County Commissioner. Hi, Patti.
Hi, Reid. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time to come and speak with us.
Anytime.
Yeah. So, Patti, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and why you want to be a county commissioner.
Well, I'm a 39-year resident of Pitkin County. I now have 2 grown children with 2 grandchildren who are still here in the valley, so I'm very lucky to have that extended family of my own with my kids and my grandkids. And I've been living at Smuggler Trailer Court for about 31 years in the same little single-wide trailer where we raised the kids. I've gotten to really know and understand the people of this community. And I really believe in Pitkin County as a strong community, a diverse community. And I say what makes it so great is the diversity of our minds, our bodies, and our spirits,
Very nice.
which I think is great. But and I would like to continue for another 4 years as the District 1 County Commissioner. There's a lot going on at the county level right now, and it's not like you want to stay in office because you haven't finished what you started. There's always things to be done at the county level. And we're in the middle of major issues with the airport, with the Crystal River Trail projects. We just opened our beautiful new building, which is amazing. If you haven't been in it, it's really worth coming and taking a tour.
Yeah,
it's
I really want to
a
see it.
beautiful facility. It came out, on time, under budget. It's just everybody's got some space. It's beautiful. But, I think it's important since I've been chairman of the board this year. I've really, I think, gotten in touch with the community, and some of our issues are controversial, and there's, very strong differences of opinions. And I've really been able to run the meetings smoothly and let people really understand that we are listening and we want community input. We want the people to be comfortable coming to the Board of Commissioners, sitting in front of us, discussing the issues, whether we agree. I'd like the diversity of the differences of opinions that come before us. And I think that's important in making, for me, and I think for the rest of the Board of Commissioners right now, for making good decisions at the end of the day. And I'd like to continue that flow that we have going right now.
Well, what got you originally up and out the door to end up in politics? How did you find your way to that?
It was many years ago. I think there was a gentleman named Reid Haughey who might have been the county manager at the time.
I've heard of that guy.
It was Superfund. We moved into the trailer court, and I realized we were living in a Superfund site. There was concerns about lead toxicity in children. I was pregnant with my daughter Tracy, who's now 29, and I got involved and started doing my homework and reading studies and questioning what the federal government, what the EPA was going to do with their Superfund designation. And over the years, I spent a lot of time dealing with the elected officials, going to city council meetings, going to Board of Commissioner meetings, going to Congress and speaking with senators. And I really felt that I had such a great knowledge of sitting on the other side of the table that when District 1 seat became an open seat, when Bill chose not to run for his 3rd term, I decided to run to keep in mind one of my goals then, and that was many years ago when I first was elected, was to remember when I was sitting on the elected side of the table what it felt like to be on the public side.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things I still keep in mind when the public comes before the board. I remember what it was like to be on that side of the table and how sometimes you felt uneasy speaking to the Board of Commissioners, and I like to make people feel welcome.
Yeah.
So I'm
And what
still
have you
at it.
found rewarding about it? Because you've been at it for a while.
I've been at it for a while. There's some, I'll tell you what, when we cut the ribbon on the new building, that was very rewarding because we had been talking about a new county facility for more than 20 years. And so to finally have it and be able to house employees in good working environment was a huge accomplishment. And it was done by many, many people. And it was a big community effort. That was very rewarding to have the community there and explain to them that it was their building, that the administration building and the sheriff's department building, it's for the community. It's where the county employees work, but they work for the people. So that's been huge. And another really great adventure I had was after Hurricane Katrina, when I was able to go back on the relief effort with the local effort we did in the valley. I called my two two tours in Burlington, Mississippi, and going back there and being able to share what we could from here with the help and the donations from the community to bring it back to the people in need was really a huge. It was really life changing. It was a life changing.
Was that something
effort.
you did personally, or was
No,
that
I
as
actually,
a commissioner?
I did it as a commissioner. It was started by the Carbondale Fire Department. The chief Ron Leach. They picked a town in Burlington, which was an unincorporated Hancock County, and so we rallied. We didn't use public dollars. We used some in-kind public time, county time. Everybody jumped in valley-wide. Most of it was donations from the general public who were either donating money, or the first call was for tents and sleeping bags to get the people off pieces of plywood out, under the rain and the mud, and so it was a community effort.
Yeah.
And but I went because the public wanted to make sure that their dollars and their goods were being well used and handled in the right way back in Mississippi. So they wanted an elected to go, and I was the only one who had all our shots, because you needed to have all the shots to go back there because there was so much risk. So I got to go, and I'd never been to the South.
Yeah.
So it was a huge experience. But I went back again right before Christmas and took presents to all the kids. But and then I brought all that I learned in pictures and gifts from the community, what the kids had made for us. I brought it all back and shared it here locally. So it was a learning
really
experience.
rewarding.
It was a great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's and the public, I think, understands it's a difficult job, being a commissioner. It's, you're faced with a lot of adversity, and, your private life no longer is private and it's public. And, you are at, I'm on call 24/7. People call me at all hours of days and nights, and, and I'm there I respond to their calls, and it's surprising. I'll return a call, and they're like, "You called me back at Sunday evening." I said, "Well, you just called me."
Yeah.
And I wanted to get back to you. And so I really believe in public service, and I really enjoy working for the people of the community, and I really enjoy working for Pitkin County. The employees are great.
Yeah. Well, that leads into a question that is almost too obvious to ask, but I want to ask it, which is, what does a county commissioner do?
It's funny, you get asked that all the time.
Yeah.
And you say, well, we oversee the library, we oversee the airport, the landfill, road and bridge, tax collections, property taxes, the assessor's office. We do the budget, we do the landfill, we do human health services, we do social services, it's hard to say what we don't do. So the learning curve is huge, which I enjoy. I love. There's always something new to learn. There's always questions to ask and answers to be looking for. So the county pretty much oversees and manages just about every aspect outside of the municipalities.
Right.
We don't meddle into the city council. We do meet with city council. We meet with Snowmass. We meet with Basalt. We meet with neighboring county commissioners, which I think is a great opportunity for us to get to share ideas and meet each other face to face.
Yeah.
So we're pretty active. We also follow state legislature, acts that come through the state house and also at the federal level. So we're always following any activities that are happening at those levels of government that may impact our counties directly.
Yeah.
So it's busy.
The county does have a broad portfolio of things that it's responsible for. And then what role do you see the commission playing? And you with it? Well, let's start with, what role does the commission play within that?
Well, we don't handle, say, personnel issues.
Right.
We're not hands-on to that unless there's an issue that comes up to a level of the county commissioner needs to be involved. But generally, we have heads of departments. We have county manager, and we have 2 county deputy managers and a new accounting position. She's our policy advocate. She's amazing, Kara, and we have great staff. So staff handles the day-to-day business. It's when issues are statutorily required for board approval. Land use is a perfect example. The budget, just the handling of public dollars, it comes to the Board of County Commissioners.
Right.
So that's really our hands-on. We hire 2 positions. We hire the county manager and we hire the county attorney. Those are the only 2. We do their evaluations on a yearly basis. But everything else, unless there's cause for it to come to rise to the level of commissioner involvement. We meet twice a month. We have regular meetings, the 2nd and the 4th Thursdays of the month, and we have work sessions every Tuesday. We call special meetings if there's a need, and we call those for, like, say, budget, because budget is due around the holidays, and so the holidays don't always work out. So it's not unlikely that we'll have a special meeting to get budget passed on time. We also do, I mean, the overall county budget, we have a 5-year balanced budget at Pitkin County by our own choosing, and so the county commissioners are responsible for that. Not for creating the budget, but for reviewing it and approving it.
Right. It's well, the charter has it as a council manager form of government.
Right. And we follow the Home Rule Charter very carefully, and we just, every once in a while we find things that need to be cleaned up, that either things have changed or they're repetitive, so we'll put ballot questions on. Any changes to the Home Rule Charter go back to the voters.
Yeah.
That's how that's how a Home Rule county is created, by voter approval.
Yeah. So is it a full-time job?
It is a full-time job.
How come?
Well, because there's always something to be done. We all sit on different councils and committees. I'm currently vice chairman of Northwest Colorado Council of Governments, and I'm vice chairman of the Northwest Colorado Council of Governments Economic Development District. I sit on a workforce board, which is mandated by the state. I just became involved in the Basalt Child Care Task Force because child care is such a huge issue. The lack of affordable, and just we have wait lists that are amazing for people to get their children into child care. So I sit on that board. We all have our travel time that we need to do to participate in these other boards and commissions. We're also always going to caucus meetings by invitation, or just if they're in our district, we go to homeowners meetings when people and homeowners have an issue or they want us to just come give them updates. So we're pretty busy. Being chairman of the board, I've been chairman of the board a couple of times, and this year...
It rotates annually still, right?
Yeah, we rotate it annually. We try to follow, if you will remember, districts, District 1, 2, 3 gets... But when we have a new county commissioner coming in, they're not really ready to sit as chair. We rotate it through. So I picked it up this year. Greg Postman, who's just in his second year as a commissioner, he's the vice chair. And I invite him in because I meet with the county manager on a weekly basis to look at agendas and to decide on what we're going to do if we need executive session meetings and things like that. But the county commissioner job for me this year has been extremely busy because we've had just a lot going on with our building and overseeing construction and contracts and just documents that the chairman of the board signs all the documents.
Yeah.
And so I like to be on hand. I'm in the office now, since it's right here in my backyard. I'm in the office every day for at least some period of time, just to make sure there's staff needs to have a commissioner available. I'm available to them. So, some weeks you may put in 20 hours and you may put in 50 hours the next week, but it's really not something you can have another job with. I do, so the public knows, I work a day here and a day there at Mountain Greenery. It's the greenhouse nursery in Basalt. I call the week before during their busy season, summer and over the Christmas holiday. I call the week before. I call the owner and I say, I'm available on Thursday. Do you need me? So I pick up a shift there, here and there. It's my mental health day because I get to go work in a garden center.
Right.
I get to go put up Christmas trees, what could be better? And so I do that. It helps Jill out, the owner of the shop, because of it. It's hard to find employees these days. And it gives me that break. It keeps my mind at a level of sanity.
Yeah.
But being a commissioner is busy. And,
Yeah.
Commissioners can put in all what they want or the time they want or the time they don't want to put in. And I've chosen to put in as much time and be there when staff needs me or if anybody in the public needs me.
Yeah. And it can be a very stressful position.
Yeah, it can. So if you see me going like this, we have our new table with a band of blue stained wood. If you see me going like this, that's my moment when I'm taking a deep breath, because it's very smooth and it kind of keeps me centered.
Yeah.
Trying to run a meeting is not easy. You've got 4 other you got commissioners on either side of you. You got the public behind you. You got the presenters in front, and you got to kind of keep everything flowing. And so at the end of the meeting, when that meeting is done and you adjourn, you get to take a nice deep breath.
Yeah.
But it's tough, but it's I love it. It's a great feeling to be out there working with the public in this community.
And as a commissioner, you were a commissioner for 2 terms.
I was a commissioner for 3 terms.
3 terms, took a term off.
And people question that.
Yeah, and then back for a 4th.
This is my fourth. I'm going into my fifth term when I'm reelected in November.
Which is 20 years.
Which will be going into 20 years, and it's a long time. But it's by home rule charter. The home rule charter term limits for commissioners are you can be in office 3 consecutive terms, which is 12 years. Then you need to take a break of 4 years, or if you move districts, you could do that and take a 2-year break. But I stayed, of course, in my district and got back out into the real world, I worked in the greenhouse, so I worked hard labor, and I came home dirty and sweaty and hot and loved it, and really found out what it was like to be looking for work, for keeping my house over my head and food on the table and healthcare insurance. And I really came back 4 years ago. I came back with a whole new sense of commitment to the community and passion and energy.
Yeah, and why did you come back?
I came back because people, of course, were asking me. People wanted me to come back, but I came back because I really love working for the people of Pitkin County, and I think I do a great job, and it's a good fit.
Yeah.
And the timing was right, and I just had this new energy and this new enthusiasm and this new understanding of what people in this community go through to live here and to stay here,
Right.
and the values that people have here, and I wanted to come back and work for that. And I'm not doing it for our generation. I'm doing it for the next generation, my children's generation, my grandchildren, and trying to make sure that we can do the best job we can to protect why we live here and move it forward into the next generations.
Do you have particular things that you're proud of accomplishing in your several terms?
One of my first things I accomplished, and everybody teases me about this, but was my effort to get a bear-proof trash can in front of our old building. You think that would be easy? It wasn't. So I finally got it. We finally got it installed.
So you're not going for the bear vote?
No, I'm not going for the bear vote, and I'm not going for the trash vote. But I got that. That was when you get into office, you think, oh, you have all these great ideas.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as you think to get things passed and done, but you have to stay committed to them. So while I took office, I was elected in 1998. I took office actually in January 1999. And that same year, right after I got elected, is when we were, quote unquote, delisted from the Superfund side.
Right.
It all happened that year. So that was a culmination of over 10 years worth of work and time that I spent. My daughter was 10 when we got delisted, and I was pregnant with her when I started. So that was a huge accomplishment. And the other really big thing, which was a really neat experience, was the passing of the Ryan Land Exchange Bill, which had to go through Congress. And it was the preservation of the 40-acre parcel between Ashcroft and Pine Creek Cookhouse. Had a development wife, for 15,000 square feet.
Right.
And so we did a land exchange with the Forest Service. And at the end, the BLM came in, which meant it had to go through Congress. It couldn't be done administratively. So I actually got to go back and testify in front of Congress. And we had to get a sponsor for the bill, so I got to go back for that to D.C. It was 5 years. It took 5 years. It was a 5-page bill, and it got signed into law. That was huge. There was a lot of people involved in that effort, but we did it.
Yeah.
And that's preserved. That piece of property is beautiful.
So what do you think the greatest challenges are going forward?
Well, the airport.
Yeah.
And the airport is going to be a huge effort. I've been speaking to a lot of community groups about it. I also sit on the chamber board, the Aspen Chamber Board. So that's a hot topic there, of course, because of economic issues for the community. But that's going to be huge. We just got the finding of no significant impacts out from the environmental assessment. So we have kind of a 3-year window here to make some decisions. The board has not yet made a decision on either the runway or the terminal. We're still looking at public comment. We're still looking at engineering. We're looking at environmental impacts. We want to make sure at the end of the day we have as much information before us. So that's going to be huge over the next couple years. And that's what I want to stay part of. So.
What do you think of the airport?
Well, I think there's a lot that needs to be done there. I think because of changes in federal with the TSA, it's really cramped our already cramped space in the terminal. The terminal, we've looked at over the years trying to expand it, remodel the structure we have there, but because of the grade issues in the original design, really wasn't an opportunity. There's some little add-ons you can do at either end, but not really to accommodate the needs of our traveling visitors, for you and I to travel, or for people coming and going as our guests and visitors. And safety is a huge issue there. And the federal government keeps coming in with more requirements and taking up more space. And so we're going to have to look at reconfigurate some major with the probably building a new terminal, but
Yeah.
that's somewhere down the line. As far as the runway, we're still looking at the next generation jets to see if there's anything out there that may be accommodated within our current wingspan. It doesn't look that way right now, but we're still looking at options and possibilities because redoing the runway, moving it and expanding it is a huge project with huge impacts to the community over a couple of years. So we really want to make that decision wisely. So we're still looking at that information, but that's going to be a biggie.
There's kind of a broader, maybe there isn't, but it seems like there's a broader political growth, environmental issues with the airport. There's a very detailed process that one has to go to about setting the envelope for a terminal. What do you do with the runway? But it seems like there's a larger conversation that some people view the airport as a growth generator or a polluter. Some people view it as more efficient than cars. What's your thinking about that?
Yeah, there's a catch. There's people who say we've got Eagle Airport. Why don't we just use that? And then we have to look at how we get people from Eagle to here, and that's more cars on already a congested highway, both the I-70 corridor and of course Highway 82. Highway 82 the whole length. It's not just the entrance anymore.
Right.
I mean, you hang out, rush hour time in Mid-Valley, and it's a snarl. And so we're looking at the possibility. We can't really control what people fly in on the general aviation, the private jets. But we can't tell United you have to buy this plane because it's the one that can fly in and out. It's really up to United for their own business, modeling their business profile. But we're hoping, and we're investigating. We're trying to do our homework as far as what jets might be out there that are more energy efficient, less polluting, less noise. Critical issue is less noise. They can still accommodate the numbers of people that we fly in. Everybody comes down to the 737s. Do you want those hovering over your head? I never realized that there's a dozen different kinds of 737s. A 737 is just not a 737. So we're hoping to do, I don't know if you've heard about this, we're hoping to do an air show, an expo, and invite these planes to fly in here. And let the public know, and we're working on it. We don't know if we're going to be able to do it. We're asking airlines to help us out, manufacturers. Let the public know on this day at this time, we're going to be flying in this plane or that plane, and we want you to stand outside or stand on your back porch and let us know what you hear, what you see, and what you smell. Just because that's the only way we're really going to see what some of these jets feel like.
Yeah.
Is if we have them fly over us. So that's kind of exciting. That's kind of something different that we thought of doing, which would be kind of fun.
Meet your airplane.
Yeah, come meet and greet. Yeah. So yeah, that's a big one. But I've been really involved, especially as chairman. I'm really involved in that because we're talking to FAA a lot, and so it's nice to have an elected official at that table.
So and let's say it's 4 years from now, and you're back on Probeline, and I'm here in my wheelchair.
And I've got my walker.
Asking you, so what was your greatest accomplishment in these past 4 years? What would you like to see or be able to brag about 4 years from now, Patti?
I would like to see that we, in the next 4 years, are able to maintain and protect our public lands and provide public access, that changes at the federal level don't come down and snatch that value away from us in this community. That means keeping an eye on Washington, D.C., paying close attention and making sure that, because that's why so many of us, if not so many, that's putting it lightly, that's why we're here. It's this environment around us, and it's public lands. So I would like to say in 4 years we've been able to maintain that, if not improve public access to public lands, and improve the health and vitality of our forests. I think that's a huge issue.
How can the county commission do that?
We can. How can we maintain that? We can work with other counties within the state who value public lands and other states within the United States who value public lands. But we have to keep an eye on the ball. We can't sit back and say, oh, they're not going to do it, and then have changes come down from the federal level. It's a matter of participating and rallying supporters. And
so that's really trying to affect federal policy.
Yes. And that's what we need to do because how much of our county land is federally owned.
Yeah.
So we have to keep an eye on that. And I'd like to say in 4 years that we've done it well, and if not maintained the level of public lands and public access, but improved it.
Right.
That would be huge. And also it'd be great to say the airport would be done in 4 years, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But we might be on our way to having made decisions with community input, but in 4 years. And I would like to survive being chairman of the board for maybe another term in there. So, I mean, another year in there. But yeah, I'm really excited about serving another 4 years.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then, what do you think, and I may have asked this already, but I just want to make sure I give you the chance to talk about what you've accomplished and what you'd like to do. And
Well, yeah, you know, I'm a firm believer that you don't really accomplish anything as a single commissioner. It's a board of 5. And so you need to bring your ideas to the board for support rather than just run rogue. You need to bring them back in because we're elected individually, but we sit as a 5-member board. So I think that's a critical point, and that's something I really try and make sure that I do. If I have an idea or a thought, or a constituent brings something forward to me, I like to bring it to the board. We have open discussion at all of our work session meetings, and that's the opportunity for the board to say at a public forum, not behind closed doors, and say, somebody came to me with this idea. What do you guys think? And I think that's important for individual commissioners to keep in mind at all times.
Yeah.
That you need to think outside of the box, but bring it back to the board. Because you really can't. You need board support.
yeah,
And if you don't have it, then you got to find a way to either, tweak your idea and rally that support, or move on.
yeah. And how do you do that? How do you get a group to move like that?
It's tough, and I believe it's just giving information, being open and honest, and just fully disclosing and gathering information and asking, do you have any questions about it? Do you have any other ideas how this might work? And bringing that in so that everybody feels like they're vested in the project. So, because I think everybody can take ownership then and be supportive of it. And I think that's important. But like I said, I'm a firm believer that the best decisions the board can make are the decisions that are fully informed.
Yeah,
And that means going out, maybe not making a rash, quick decision, but going out to the public, bringing the public in at the beginning of some of our bigger projects and saying, what do you think? What are your ideas? How can we make this work for the community? Because what the commissioners do, what I do as a commissioner, is for the community. It's not for my personal interest. It's what's in the best interest of the community as a whole.
great.
And I work hard.
Anything I missed that you want to mention? Or?
No, but I don't think, but on a personal level, I don't think that I got these 2 grandbabies that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually got to take my granddaughter to the office the other day and show her off, and she's my vote getter. She's this little munchkin, and I had them both in the 4th of July parade with me. So, that really gives you a new passion, a new level of energy. Obviously, you have to, but with 2 little ones running around. But it also really, I think, really makes you bring your thoughts back home and centered to why do people live here and what makes this such a special place.
Right.
So, and I work hard to keep it that way.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Reid.
Patti.
Thanks. Are we done already?
We really
This was
appreciate
great.
it. And we'd like to thank the folks at the Thrift Shop for sponsoring this. And this concludes another episode of Probeline. Thank you. Thanks, Patti.
That was good.